I'm about to show you one simple daily meal that can help your body actively remove cholesterol from your arteries. Not slow it down, not manage it. Help your body actually reverse the process that creates plaque in the first place. And no, it's not lemon water. It's not apple cider vinegar. It's not garlic pills or some internet detox. Because your arteries are not kitchen pipes. And plaque is not grease you can dissolve. That idea is biologically wrong. After 20 years working around cardiovascular patients and seeing how arterial disease develops from the inside out, one thing becomes very clear. Most people are fighting the wrong battle. They're trying to scrub plaque away. But plaque isn't dirt, it's inflammation. It's your own immune system reacting to damaged cholesterol trapped inside your artery wall. Which means if you want to reverse it, you don't clean. You change the biology that created it. And that's exactly what this meal does. Every ingredient activates a specific pathway. Every component triggers a specific cellular response. Not theory, not trends, not wellness hype, actual physiology. By the end of this video, you'll understand what plaque really is, why it forms, why standard low-fat advice often backfires, why medication alone usually isn't enough, and the exact meal that supports your body's natural cleanup system. Because once you understand the mechanism, everything starts to make sense. Let's start with what plaque actually is, because most people misunderstand this completely. Inside your artery is a thin inner lining called the endothelium. When it's healthy, it's smooth, slippery, flexible, blood flows easily, your vessels naturally widen and relax. But when that lining gets irritated, from stress, high blood pressure, smoking, high sugar, or chronic inflammation, it becomes damaged, and tiny gaps form. Through those gaps, LDL cholesterol slips inside the artery wall. Now here's the part nobody explains. LDL itself isn't the villain. Your body makes cholesterol every day. You need it. The real problem happens when LDL gets oxidized. Think of oxidation like rusting or like an apple turning brown. Once LDL is oxidized, your immune system sees it as dangerous. So your white blood cells rush in, they try to clean it up. They swallow the damaged cholesterol, but they can't process it properly. They fill up, they swell, they turn into what are called foam cells. And those foam cells stack up inside the artery wall. That cluster of dying immune cells, that's plaque, not grease, not fat stuck to a pipe, but an ongoing immune reaction, an inflammatory battlefield. And over years, sometimes decades, that inflammation builds. The wall thickens, blood flow narrows. But here's the scary part. Most heart attacks don't happen because the artery slowly closes. They happen because plaque suddenly ruptures. A clot forms instantly. Blood flow stops. That's the real danger, which means simply opening arteries with stents or waiting until blockages are huge. Misses the root problem. You don't just need wider arteries, you need healthier artery walls, you need fewer foam cells, you need less inflammation, and most importantly, you need to get cholesterol out of those cells, and your body already has a system for that. This is the part most people never hear about. Your body has something called reverse cholesterol transport. It's basically your natural cleanup crew. HDL, often called good cholesterol, travels through your bloodstream like a garbage truck. Its job is to pick up excess cholesterol, carry it back to the liver, and remove it from the body. When this system works well, plaque can actually shrink. Yes, shrink. But here's the problem. For many adults, this system is sluggish. HDL isn't very active. The transporters that push cholesterol out of cells aren't stimulated. So cholesterol just stays trapped. Foam cells stay bloated. Inflammation continues. And plaque slowly grows. Unless you activate the pathways that turn this cleanup system back on. And here's the interesting part. You don't activate it with surgery. You don't activate it with a cleanse. You activate it with specific foods containing specific bioactive compounds. Food that improves blood vessel flexibility, reduces inflammation, supports HDL function, protects LDL from oxidation, and helps regulate calcium buildup. That combination is what matters, not a single supplement, not a miracle drink, a targeted nutritional strategy, and that's exactly what I'm about to show you next. Because now that you understand the biology, the meal will finally make sense. So now you understand the problem. Plaque isn't grease. It's trapped cholesterol, oxidation, immune cells, and chronic inflammation inside the artery wall, which means if you want to reverse it, you don't need a cleanse. You need to activate biology. You need to improve blood flow, calm inflammation, protect LDL from oxidation, help cholesterol leave foam cells, and stop calcium from hardening your arteries. That's the strategy. And this is where the meal comes in. But listen carefully, this is not a random healthy salad. This is not a trendy superfood bowl. This is a protocol. Every ingredient has a job. Every ingredient targets a specific pathway inside your arteries. Remove one piece, you weaken the effect. Do it consistently, you amplify the effect. Step 1. Restore blood flow. First, before you can clean anything up, you have to open the road. Because if blood isn't flowing properly through your vessels, nothing else works efficiently. And the single most important molecule for healthy arteries is something most people have never heard of: nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is what tells your arteries to relax, to widen, to become flexible. It improves circulation, prevents platelets from sticking, reduces inflammation, and protects the endothelium, that delicate inner lining we talked about earlier. But here's the problem. After 40, 50, 60, your body makes less and less nitric oxide, which means stiffer arteries, higher blood pressure, poorer oxygen delivery, and faster plaque growth. So we need to restore it. Fast, naturally. And the most powerful way to do that isn't a supplement. It's nitrates from leafy greens. Specifically, arugula, beets, spinach. These vegetables are loaded with natural dietary nitrates. When you eat them, something fascinating happens. Your body converts those nitrates into nitric oxide through a pathway involving your saliva and oral bacteria. Within hours, your arteries relax. Blood flow improves. Studies show measurable drops in blood pressure the same day, not weeks later. Same day? That's how powerful this is. So, the base of this meal is simple. 2 to 3 large cups of fresh arugula. Raw, not cooked. Cooking reduces the nitrates. Raw keeps them intact. This becomes the foundation of the plate. Think of it as turning the lights back on inside your blood vessels. But improving blood flow alone isn't enough because we still haven't removed the cholesterol that's already trapped. For that, we need the next step. Step 2, activate cholesterol removal. Remember that transporter we talked about earlier? The one that pushes cholesterol out of foam cells? The one that powers reverse cholesterol transport? That protein is called ABCA1. And most people's ABCA1 activity is low, which means cholesterol gets stuck. So the question becomes, how do we turn it on? This is where extra virgin olive oil becomes incredibly powerful, but not just any olive oil. High quality, high polyphenol, extra virgin olive oil. Because real olive oil contains a compound called oleocanthal. Oleocanthal is a natural anti-inflammatory. It works similarly to ibuprofen inside the body. But even more interesting, it stimulates the exact genes that increase cholesterol efflux, meaning it helps your cells release stored cholesterol. In simple terms, it tells foam cells to let go. It helps HDL pick up that cholesterol and carry it away, which is exactly what we want. This isn't theory. Large Mediterranean diet studies showed that people consuming several tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil daily had dramatically fewer heart attacks and strokes, even though they were eating more fat. Let that sink in. More fat, less heart disease, because it's not about fat. It's about the type of fat and the compounds inside it. So this meal includes 3 to 4 tablespoons of high-quality extra virgin olive oil, drizzled generously over the greens, not a teaspoon, not a light spray, real amounts. Because this isn't flavor, this is medicine. At this point, we've done 2 big things. We opened the arteries with nitric oxide, and we activated cholesterol removal with olive oil polyphenols, but there are still 2 more problems left: oxidation and calcification. So now we've already solved 2 major problems. First, we restored blood flow with nitrates and nitric oxide. Second, we activated cholesterol removal using high phenolic olive oil and ABCA1. But there are still two silent threats destroying arteries every day. And if you ignore these, nothing else works long term. Because plaque doesn't just grow from trapped cholesterol, it grows from oxidation and calcification, and this is where most people fail. Step 3. Stop LDL from oxidizing. Let me remind you what actually starts plaque. It's not LDL by itself. LDL is not the villain. Oxidized LDL is. Regular LDL is just a transport particle. But once it oxidizes, your immune system treats it like an infection. Macrophages attack it, foam cells form, plaque begins. So if you prevent oxidation, you stop the entire chain reaction before it even starts. And this is where one fruit becomes incredibly powerful. Pomegranate. Not the juice, not the sugary concentrate, the whole seeds. Because pomegranate seeds contain special polyphenols that bind directly to LDL particles. They literally coat them, shield them, protect them from free radicals, which means LDL can't oxidize. And if LDL can't oxidize, foam cells don't form, which means plaque slows dramatically. Human studies have shown something incredible. People consuming pomegranate daily actually saw measurable reductions in arterial wall thickness. Not stabilization, regression, plaque shrinking. Plus, there's a second benefit. Pomegranate increases something called para-oxinase. That's an enzyme attached to HDL. It helps HDL clean up oxidized fats, so now your good cholesterol becomes even more protective. Think of it like upgrading your body's cleanup crew. So this meal includes 1 full cup of fresh pomegranate seeds, tossed right into the salad. Adds crunch, adds flavor, but more importantly, adds biochemical protection. Now we've handled blood flow, cholesterol removal, oxidation, but there's still one last enemy, and honestly, this one scares me the most as a surgeon, because once it progresses, arteries become like stone. Step 4, stop your arteries from turning into bone calcium. Most people think calcium is only a bone issue. It's not. Calcium ends up wherever inflammation exists, including your arteries. And over time, plaque hardens, arteries stiffen, blood flow drops, risk skyrockets. This is what your coronary calcium score measures. And once calcium builds up, stents don't fix it. Statins don't fix it. Nothing fixes it easily, except one nutrient, vitamin K2, specifically K2-MK7. This vitamin activates a protein that literally pulls calcium out of your arteries and sends it back to your bones, exactly where it belongs. Without K2, calcium deposits freely. With K-ties, your arteries stay flexible. This isn't theory. Japanese studies on natto consumption show dramatically lower rates of cardiovascular disease, and natto is the richest natural source of K2 on Earth. But let's be honest, most people won't eat natto, so you have options. Either 50 grams natto, or aged Gouda cheese, or a daily MK7 supplement, around 180-200 mcg. Simple. Food first if possible, supplement if needed. But don't skip this step, because calcium control is what determines whether your arteries stay flexible at 70, 80, 90, or become rigid pipes. Now let's put it all together. Here's the exact daily meal, no guessing, no eat healthy, specific, targeted, repeatable, every day. The artery repair meal. Large bowl, 2 to 3 cups fresh arugula, 1 cup pomegranate seeds, 3 to 4 tablespoons high phenolic extra virgin olive oil, optional, natto or aged cheese. Or take MK7 supplement toss. Eat slowly, chew thoroughly. Done. 10 minutes. That's it. But what you just activated is massive. Nitric oxide, better blood flow, ABCA1, cholesterol removal, polyphenols, less inflammation, pomegranate, oxidation protection, K2, calcium reversal. 5 mechanisms, 1 plate. That's not a salad. That's targeted cellular therapy. The rule most people ignore. Here's where people mess up. They say, I'll try this sometimes. No, sometimes doesn't change biology. Daily does. Plaque didn't form in a week. It formed over decades. So you need consistency, not perfection. Consistency. Eat this every day for months. not days. And monitor your progress. Get a calcium score baseline. Repeat in 18-24 months. Numbers don't lie. Final message, strong close. Listen carefully. I've opened thousands of chests. I've held arteries that felt like concrete. I've seen blockages so severe blood could barely pass. And most of those people never needed surgery. If someone had just taught them this earlier, food isn't just calories. It's instructions. Instructions for your genes. Instructions for your immune system. Oh, instructions for whether plaque grows, weight, or shrinks. You cannot vinegar your arteries clean, but you can activate the pathways your body already built to heal itself. One meal every day, that's it. Start tomorrow and give your arteries a chance to